Howdy y'all, Los here. Today is an important day. It's getting colder and it's time to start thinking about protecting the plants, those tropicals. We don't want it to get below 50. It has been 50, but it rises right up to the 80s and 90s real quick during the day. So today I plan to reinforce the protection inside the new greenhouse by silicone caulking all the little cracks, whatever I feel air can fly through. This way it's going to trap humidity inside, and we're going to also protect it by putting a little space heater in there. At least show you what I'm going to do. The greenhouse isn't quite finished just yet. It's got the bones and there are plants in there. We still need to put shelves, so you're still seeing this in its baby steps. 98 degrees, 40% humidity. So this greenhouse definitely needs some shade. It definitely needs to be sealed because 40 degrees, that's basically what it is outside right now, naturally. Matter of fact, let's go double check that inside the other garden. Yeah, I'm seeing basically like 40-ish%. It's basically outside in there. It's not working out for me. So what I do when I water, that burlap, when it gets wet, it's going to evaporate when it starts to dry. That's going to create humidity, and it actually does create a lot of humidity in here. But for some reason, it's even dropping 38. It's getting less humid in here. It's not creating a rainforest environment. On the other hand, whoo boy, hop into this bad boy. Now, there's not much left in here. I've taken most of the things out of here. But as you can see, look at this, 83 degrees, nearly 90% humidity in here. It's tropical in here. It's hard to get a good solid fresh breath in here. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Whew. Can you breathe in here?
Barely.
Maybe I'm stuffed up, but boy, things are, I mean, like these, look at this rainforest, this rain tree, how healthy it looks. So I think this is a great environment for everybody in here. This is tropical AF. Why do you think I'm not getting as much humidity in the bigger greenhouse, but I'm getting great humidity in here? And I think it's the seal. Literally, this is planted to the ground. We've got not only one, but two different sheets on this. Right now, it's just completely sealed up. That's why it was probably hard to breathe. There's really no airflow going in there. I'm gonna actually open up one of the windows here, get that airflow going. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like if I can't breathe, neither can they. You know what I mean? So we're going to try to seal up as much as we can, but there's a problem as well. The greenhouse sits on these paver stones, which already have some clearance through here. Now, we didn't anchor this, but we went through some pretty harsh winds the other day, about 20-25 mile gusts. And this thing stood still. I did prop up a brick on one side, on the other side. However, it didn't tip over. I've actually tied down a little bit. It's very loosely secured, but everything seems to be okay. We still do plan on anchoring this down, but there's a problem in that too. We should have anchored this down before we even started putting up anything, because it's nearly impossible for us to try to get a screw in there. Little mess up on our part. Should have absolutely done that. Anyways, it's time for us to start caulking this thing up, but I don't know the first thing about it. So I'm gonna pass it over to my buddy, Brandon, the Hard Hat Mitchell.
Hey Brandon.
Yeah.
How do you spread a good bead of caulk?
You know, it's funny you ask. People ask me that all the time. And you know what I tell them? It all starts with the tip. And to get a good tip, you need a good knife. Come close, I'll show you a trick. these notch marks with the measurement 1/8, 3/16, quarter, 5/16, that correlates to the thickness of the bead that you're gonna lay. Now, you never wanna cut too big for the space that you're trying to fill, because then it just goes everywhere. So I always err on the side of cutting it smaller, with the idea that you can always cut it bigger. So if you'll notice the gap running along the sides everywhere, that's a much bigger gap than what's, say, between the panel and this. So we're gonna caulk all of these with the size tip that we had, because again, really small gap, you don't need a really wide tip. But when it comes time to do these larger ones, we'll make a larger cut for it, and it'll make applying it so much easier. So here we go.
Okay, so that seems in order. We've got it pretty much sealed up. We'll be able to test that later when if it's going to hold the seal. That's easy enough. Right now, I've watered the inside. I watered the plants. We've already have an improvement in the humidity. It always does that. It'll jump right up to like 80, 90 humidity in here. Makes sense because I just watered. So hopefully we'll see this hold off a little longer. And so this is what I do to keep it humid. But what am I going to use this for when it's cold? And I've got my space heater. This trusty little space heater. It was used last year for winter in that greenhouse there, and it kept above 50 whenever I needed it to. Turn it off during the day, and in the cold nights, you turn this thing on and put it on oscillate. It will keep this place 50 degrees. We'll be able to test that with this new greenhouse. I have no idea if it's going to be able to hold it all in, so we'll also be able to tell when it's time to do that.
All right, hey, good morning. So it's the next day after we caulked up the greenhouse, and I wanted to show you that I think it's absolutely working. So as I approach the greenhouse this morning, I can see it's all fogged up in there. All the windows are icy. I wouldn't say icy, but frosted with morning dew. As we go inside, lots of moisture has been retained throughout the night. I think this was successful. Now there's still some areas I think we need to figure out how to plug up, because when I'm in here, I can see, look at that, along the top, lots of light able to come through. Look at that big old gap there. So there's still some areas we need to work out, but for now I think it's working well, and I'm pretty happy with the results so far.
Here's a little update on this beast Yamadori that we got last year. Actually picked it up in January. We put it in this toolbox, and it's really just, it's Nigel Saunders mix without the pine bark, pure, and I didn't really sift it, so it's like very clay and dense in there, especially towards the bottom. where all the finer stuff is settling and heavier things. So there were roots that were coming off and plugging into the tree there. I just cut off the part where the tree was and let the root grow. And the root has now sprung, and there's actually 2 of them. So now I got actually 2 trees coming out of there. I plan on potting this up into a bonsai container next year, and probably in January or so during its dormancy. I'm actually checking up on an air layer that I did a few months ago. I want to see if it's even taken. It does not look like it has. I don't see any roots per se, and perhaps it's because of the color of the plastic bag. But let's find out together, shall we? I mean, the branch itself hasn't died, so that's a good sign. The branch isn't dead. So let's go ahead and pull back the curtain, shall we? Let's hope we see a ton of roots. But I don't. Let's pull this back. Oh, and it's coming. It's getting there. It is getting there. You can see it's starting to either bridge and connect again, or it's going to, I think that's the start of roots. So this like orange color you see there. That orange color you see there. Yeah. Anyways, that's the quick little update on this. We'll check back. That's the update on this nice, that's the update on the beast cedar elm we picked up, the Yamadori. We'll check back on it in January when we repot it. See you then. This is an American elm seedling that I got a while back. I harvested it from a place in downtown Austin. What I've done is I placed it in this with a rock, done a nice big old loop, and just some cascading movement on this. I don't know where the front is. I think somewhere around there at first. I don't know. The roots started growing out of the bottom, so I just put it in a pot of nothing so that it could reach out and do some more growing without having to repot. This is probably the safest way to repot something, right? Safer than slip potting. This is like a step like before slip potting. There's this, then there's slip potting, then there's transplanting. But that's my American elm cascade. This here's the $50 challenge tree, and it has gone through a rough time. Let me tell you now, as you can see, there's not much leafing going on right now. Matter of fact, all of it turned yellow and just about dropped away. And before that, I kept seeing just tons of aphids on it all over the place. So I treated it, which I think helped get rid of all the old leaves. But what's going on here is everything has got new buds shooting everywhere. So it probably just was a little shocked from the treatment that it got. Plus it had to fight a bunch of aphids off. And now it's coming back. And it doesn't have much time to grow until it goes dormant. So we're just gonna let it go as much as we can, and then when it's nice and dormant, we're gonna clean it up and get rid of all the dead branches and just do a general bonsai cleanup. But this is turning out to be a pretty cool looking bonsai so far. Okay, so we sealed up the greenhouse and talked about how we're gonna keep it hot during the winter. Checked out a few of our trees and had a little fun while we did it. So thanks for watching. If you like our content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Be cool, stay hip, get yourself a hobby. Let's see those Lego containers. Bye.